Keep it playing when you play on the night trombone. The land boy who made the minute and the day on all the key. It had the man from Savannah playing on that piano. Makes the jazz go harmony. Oh, everybody jazzing, jazzing all over town. All of the jazz folks throughout the land are dancing and the practice of the dancing. Oh, brother,
Hello, and welcome to Illuminated Page. Sorry about that. I was like hearing music, and it was because my phone had an alarm to go off so I could take a screenshot that I forgot to do 10 minutes ago, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, my name is Roxanne. Welcome to the show. I am joined by my friends as we go through horror on the Orient Express. Well, horror in England and France. That's what we're going to call it now because another train. Who cares? Somebody already.
Last week that it was more like horror adjacent to the Orient Express.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot that goes on the train itself, and we haven't even got on the train itself, and some weird shit's happened already. So this is episode 11, I believe, of season 1. So and yeah, we have not even espied the train. So. But tonight, let me introduce you to this wonderful cast of characters. I'm going to go order in order of my Discord because I don't remember what the layout looks like anymore. It's been so long since I've seen their faces. So we're going to start with Ala because she is first in the alphabet.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Ala, and I am playing Emily Bront, who is a veteran of the Great War and the party's piggy bank, babysitter, whatever.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could consider yourself the piggy bank. You're at least the dispensary of the money.
I control the purse strings. Let's be real here.
There we go. Okay. You're our Judas Iscariot. Okay. Keeping it seasonal. I mean, I'm just saying he was the treasurer before he did the whole betrayal thing. So,
What are you
just
trying to say, Rue?
Yeah, watch out, Duchess. You're going to get betrayed.
She's a countess.
Oh, yeah, Countess.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
I mean, titles.
What's a title anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it.
Cares?
Next in line, I have Sean. Please introduce yourself and your character.
My name is Sean, and I'm playing Kelsey Hoskins. We'll just drop the pretense. He is not a very nice person. He's a thief, possible hitman. We're not sure.
This is news to me. Next in the lineup is Alyssa.
Hey, everybody. I am Alyssa, and I play Cleo Dandridge, who is the party's dictionary for weird.
And the don't touch that, you motherfucker.
And the don't
person.
touch that.
So that's gotten less and less recently.
It has.
Well,
she started to touch things.
Losing more and more sanity.
As the sanity goes, so do the desires to stop us from touching.
That's right. Just fucking touch stuff. It doesn't matter. All right. And last but certainly not least, Matt.
I am Matt Quiet. I am playing Countess Johanna Rinaldi Stad, and I'm pretty sure I'm the drama. That's what we're going to go with.
Am I the drama? Yeah. Yep. We have some TikTok fans in this cast. So, but yeah, that is my wonderful cast of characters. Last time we met, we were in France. They did some sneak around the, the Carrington Asylum there in Paris and learned some really gross and creepy stuff. Cleo had a heart-to-heart with an insane predator who then you revealed some stuff about someone that you've been looking for some information about, the Comte Fenelick, and maybe his whereabouts, if he has whereabouts. I don't remember if you guys decided he has whereabouts or not, but
I think we're still stuck on the fact that we're going to try and find his old whereabouts.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yes, we are headed into the city northeast of Paris called Poissy. That is where he had his villa when he had his debaucherous parties full of drunken, carnal revelings and all of that. And we're going to see, now it was burned to the ground, But did you ever decide to send someone ahead, or did we decide that you were just going to go?
Be ahead.
I think
You
we were
did send
talking about
somebody-
it.
We sent one of the servants ahead just to check things out.
Okay.
So we're not going completely blind.
Cool.
He's a vampire.
We don't know that. It could just be the delusions
I have
of a
it in my-
madman.
He is a vampire in my notes.
Why do you have that he is a vampire? Do you remember?
Because he is.
Because
Is it because he went blah?
I think he went blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. He drank blood and then got better or something.
I feel like he could have drank way more of that dude's blood.
I mean, yeah, he left a bunch on the ground. That's all
He
I'm
was a
saying is he
horrible-
could
he
have
was a-
drained that cow.
That guy was a horrible person. It's probably a bad vintage, and he was like, ugh, no.
Oh, does he need a particular freshness? Like a quality? Is he just 14 to 17 range where they're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
He's
gross.
like Elizabeth
grossed myself
Bathory.
out.
Yeah, did you gross yourself out there?
Yeah. Well, I was like, is he a Bathory or like?
Yeah.
Is he a Bathory vampire or what?
Right. Oh my god, guys, you don't know anything about Comte Finolek except he's kind of creepy and
And his portrait likes to laugh at us
might
a
still
lot.
be alive.
He's a vampire.
Okay. All right.
don't
So
know.
you sent you sent one of the servants ahead. Are you waiting for the servant to return, or are you just going to meet with said servant when you arrive in Poissy?
Are we really done at the asylum? I feel like we saw
We should
the
go.
vampire.
go.
We're like, well, screw it, bye. Am I missing something in my
No,
memory?
you're missing nothing at all, but we shouldn't return.
No.
Because there's definitely not a dead body in the basement.
Yeah.
It was the vampire. I don't see a problem here.
What did you call it? The bleeding closet?
The,
Is that what
the
we-
bleeding closet.
Bleeding closet.
She shoved a man in the bleeding closet.
It was the alcove. I was like, I don't know if there's a proper term for it besides alcove, but now it's the
The
bleeding
abattoir?
closet. Okay, let's get fancy here. That's where bodies get
Just-
left, okay?
No, I mean, I would say that as far as Carrington is concerned, at the end of last session, it seemed as though everybody felt as though they had covered all their bases there, that they'd gotten the information out of it that you needed, which was primarily that Comte Finolek. You believe that Comte Finolek was the person that was down there, bricked up for over 100 years, and then woke up and bled this guy and drove him insane, and then visited him in the night.
Yeah, hanging out on the
touched his
ceiling
little
or
face.
whatever. Was like,
Coalescing out of smoke.
Leo needs a nap.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You all went home and I assume took a nap, rested up. I do want to say, where are we? Because I'm not in chat. Where are we on luck advances for the party? How many do we have? Do we still have 3 or?
Something like that.
Because I know we did a couple.
Rolls?
5 yeah, it's saying we hit
5
Streamlabs
fucking
and
3 luck
rerolls?
advances.
Yep. Well, Redna's saying 5 rerolls.
Yeah, and 3
That's a
luck
lot of
advances.
rerolls.
It's
Okay,
a lot.
well, go ahead. If you need luck, please go ahead and do a proper luck advance, which is roll your percentile die. And if you score above your current luck value, you get a 1d10
Above? I thought, or below. I'm sorry.
above.
Above? No good for me. Well,
That's how you do advances in this game. You have to roll above your percentage. Therefore, when you are good at something, it is harder to get better.
yeah. And we're getting 1d6? 1d10.
1d10.
Wow. Every now and again, I think
I'm sorry, I
I
want to
don't
ask
know if
questions. I don't want to get yelled at.
yeah, I don't know why it's just me, because it's primarily me that's coming through on another mic when we're talking at the same time.
Woohoo, 91.
I don't know.
You just
I don't
are
know.
very communicative.
I'm really not trying to speak loudly. I'm trying to speak like a
Ooh,
soft girl.
I need to hard one.
I've never talked like a soft girl before in my life, but I'm doing my best. Can you all still hear me if I speak like this?
I actually kind of like that. It's very
Soothing.
succulent.
Oh, I've never been called succulent in my life.
Wrong show. Wrong show.
John, take notes. No, so tonight, as our team goes to Boissy, no, so I've already done the recap. I have introduced everybody, or I've let them introduce themselves. Yeah, tonight is going to be the night of how much can we not make a joke about the name of this real place. So, so are you meeting up with your servant there? Your servant. Are you meeting up with your staff there, or are you waiting for them to return?
I think that because we sent him a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, before we started the investigation with the asylum.
Oh, okay, then they may be back.
Theoretically, hopefully.
I'll let you decide. Do you want to meet with them there, or do you want to come here?
I would rather they come back to the house.
Yeah, we don't want to drive all the way out there if we don't have to.
Yeah, really. If we drive out there and the servant's like, "There's nothing here."
Sorry, it's just a field.
Sure.
I also think
sure.
I think I at some point like sent, and I can't find what I sent, but I sent a telegram at some point.
You
to
did send a
Ophelia.
telegram, and I completely forgot about that.
It's
That's on
okay.
me.
I did too.
That's on me. We're going to deal with that, just not right now.
That's fine.
Because slipped my mind while you were having heart to heart with Guimar. But okay, so your servant returns. We are going to call your servant Olivier, and Olivier returns. I don't have a whole lot of French names to choose from, and that one just comes up a lot.
Sir Lion.
There we go.
Olivier.
Yeah. Yeah. But he returns, and he kind of gives you a breakdown of town, and he's like, well, there's there's a town hall that's pretty good. Let me ask you, before I get into this too far, did you ask him to do any research, or did you just ask him to go and kind of scout?
I thought we asked him to go and verify if he could find the property.
Yeah.
Even if it was
Yeah,
just
okay.
like the field in which the house once stood.
Okay. What Olivier returns with, he says, well, there is he said there's if you ask around, nobody really is sure, but they believe that it is the place where there is a new house that they believe stands on the grounds, but you would have to do some research to confirm that. No one is really sure anymore. It is storied, and Comte Fenelic does not have a good reputation.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't. He's a vampire.
I did, change my background, in honor of vampire.
It's very dramatic.
Just like me.
It's like,
So yeah, they believe that if their estimations are right, that perhaps there is another house built on the property. It is not the original villa, however.
Because that is going to make it rather difficult, especially if it is inhabited.
Oh yeah. Oh well, if it's the house that they said it might be, that is definitely inhabited. It actually has a doctor that lives there.
doctor of what?
I mean, I believe it is a doctor of medicine.
Okay.
I'm looking.
As long as it's not a psychiatrist. Who
A
happens to
psychiatrist would help you if you lose sanity, though.
Well, not the good kind, the lobotomizing kind.
Yeah, like
Oh,
the
no.
one that we
No,
the one
he
that we
is-
jury rigged the machine on to take care of.
Oh yes. Yeah. I need to remember that. I need to remember that that was a thing.
We still believe there's a piece of the statue here in Paris somewhere, right?
That's the hope.
I thought the piece of the statue that was in Paris was sold.
We hope it was sold to someone still in Paris and in some private collection. But if we can track down who it was sold to, that might be helpful.
Okay.
Hey, I'm trying to remember what the note actually said. Let's see. Because that would have been your notes from good old Beddoes after Professor Smith gave you the rundown of where he believed all the pieces were and perhaps the scrolls. Let's see. The statue was dismembered in Paris just prior to the French Revolution. Part of it may still be in France. The owner was a noble Comte Fenelic. But then you also found... Oh my god, you guys have found so many notes.
Those library rolls, man.
I know you guys did spend a lot of time in the library.
We're just very smart people, and it's important to us.
Good. That's real good.
But
Except
Leo
for
has
the
a
two
very
of you that
specific
hated
set
it.
of skills.
Yeah.
We're there for translation purposes and to keep the riffraff at bay.
And the occasional coffee run.
And to flirt with the librarians.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay, it's not in that one because that's the woman who wrote fan fiction about the Comte. Let's see.
Really, who has
He was like sun lighting us all or some bullshit.
It's just Twilight.
Let's see.
like the stars.
Yeah. When the sun glittered across his skin, it was most mesmerizing. Let's see here. Sorry, I don't know what that was.
It's great.
It's a really old, lonely woman.
Wait, it's that landlady from that we went and visited.
Oh, Mr. Yeah. Mr. Haskins, thank you for my jewel. No, let's see here. No, he doesn't talk about it. There was the Captain Luis Malone that he was the one that saw the abominations and the revelings that were happening, and but he does not mention what it was. And there was another note that you found when you were in there. It was not a handout, but it talked about statues and things, but it didn't go into detail as to what was carried out of the home. So you are hopeful that there is a part of it still there, but you are not necessarily, that has not been confirmed. So
sort of the last place that we know that it was in his possession before it was dismantled and whatever.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, because it was a fire, right? That took it out, so it wasn't like they carted off all of the belongings to the palace when he was arrested.
Oh no. So what were you going to say, Matt?
I was going to say there was a fire that destroyed the house, and if anything exists, it's in the basement. That would have maybe survived the fire.
I'm pretty sure that it was intimated that the stuff was taken out, and then they set fire to the house because they were like, "This place is a den of Satan," and we're like, "Sex was happening, running like rabid dogs."
I can't believe sex happened.
I mean, it's from the French, so it has to have been really weird for them to be like, "Ooh."
Right? I mean,
wasn't it because it was the Queen wasn't invited, and then she got pissed off about it and sent the police?
No, there was a, well, we don't know. There was a scandal involving someone in the royal house, probably the Queen. But that was for like 3 sessions ago. But yeah, so as far as Poissy goes, Olivier has returned. He has given you this information. Would you like to hire a car, board a train?
I really think we should hire a car. I'm not keen on trains.
Yeah.
That
we've
last
had
train was
some rough
traumatic.
experiences with trains, so
This is how the rest of this campaign is going to go. We're like, can we just drive?
Or along
to
the
Lausanne?
Orient.
Yeah.
Drive along the train tracks.
Just
same
follow
route.
the train. I mean, as long as you're behind it the whole way, nothing's going to come back at you, right? So,
You don't know.
So
that.
yeah. Poissy is 17 and a half miles west of Paris. You can get there by train or hired car. So I will say in the winter months, it is often favored to take the train because the roads might be icy. But if you don't care, neither does the driver, because I'm pretty sure Emily's going to pay him quite handsomely. Or is this just cousin Norbert's a staff driver, so you don't have to pay him anything? You just tell him to get in the car and take you.
Cousin Norbert's staff driver.
Okay. So let's
He, on the
see.
other hand, will complain a lot.
Nice. I love that it assumes you're going to take the train, because I have 2 paragraphs to describe the train. And
they assumed a lot of things, so...
Yeah, they do assume a lot of things. They also assumed that one of you was going to commit yourselves at Carrington last week.
Still could.
You know, if you really want to. Let's see. So as you're going, you see suburban towns and hamlets. It's a really lovely little area as you continue, as you travel out west towards Poissy, and then you enter a forest of Saint Germain. It looks like a dense, brooding expanse of woods where animal tracks can be seen in the snow on either side of the street, or either side of the road, or tracks if you guys are riding a train. I'm just gonna use this. And so, but there's some fields. It's quiet. You know, it kind of gives you a sense of calm, and you know, it's like this is a nice day trip out to the country, 17 miles away. You don't know that he's a vampire, and you don't know that he's anywhere near Poissy. You just know that at one time, someone named Fenelic lived there.
Oh, before we get too far, did we want to bring the painting from the Louvre or the picture from the Louvre so it's a focus or not?
Is there a point that we ever need that picture?
Well, if we're going to try and contact the spirit of Count Fenelic or search for something that's hidden, do we need it?
I'm pretty sure you can only contact the spirit if it's actually dead.
Well, if it's a vampire, isn't it actually dead?
Technically.
Well, technicalities are, what if we just need something to laugh at the people around us in kind of like the snarkiest way possible?
Where in France, would their natural abilities is going to outmatch ours.
Well, that's why we need the French painting to laugh snarkily so that we're not outmatched.
But seriously, I do think that we did discuss bringing it with us.
I just wanted to make sure we have
I'm
it
going
with
to
us.
say that you have like a map, like a scroll case that you pop it into, and it's protected, and maybe the Countess does not know that you have it, but
There's just a giggling that's occurring like at Cleo's side.
It's yeah, you just hear a muffled laugh every so often. Someone's like, "What the fuck is that? Who's laughing in the car?" See, if you're on a train, it makes sense because you could hear maybe other passengers. Anyway, yeah, we'll say remember the painting is small. It's like it's a sketch of a painting of a person. You know, so I mean, it's a weird thing. So it was only like 12 by 19, I think, is what I said. So you can
and it's rolled up in a little case. It's fine. Yep. It's nondescript.
Absolutely, you could easily just slip it in your belongings, Cleo, if that is what you wish, or Kelsey, if you wanted to carry it.
Carry it.
So, but yeah, you start to see as the car gets closer, you start to see houses, and as you get farther in towards Poissy, you see that the houses get a little bit closer together. You see the river kind of runs through this part of the country, and you see areas where like walking paths, and you see areas where areas where people might be bathing if it were nicer. It's not. It's very cold. It is France in, January 19th?
18th.
18th. Gosh, 18th. You guys have done a lot in like 2 days. But yeah, so you get there, you actually pass the train platform on your way into the city, and you see town square. The train platform overlooks town square, and there's a cafe restaurant of the Hotel de Rouen, where I don't know how to say that word. Hotel de Rain. We're gonna call it Rain, where they have where it looks warm and inviting and welcoming to people, and we'll say Olivier probably told you about that. Do you all plan to stay in Poissy for a time, or do you plan to head back tonight?
Depends on how things goes.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get some rooms just in case we end up staying.
It's
We
only
wanna drive
6
back?
miles away.
That's true.
It's true. I will say the town gives you the it's very busy and bustling despite the cold. Kind of the atmosphere of an American frontier town with the forest on one side. So you see some really nice 3-story houses, recent builds, things like that. Other houses are decidedly older. But you actually see a grocery store that is proudly marked depuis 1420. So some of the buildings have been around quite a long time. But the roads are paved, and the gendarme has they patrol on horses and all of that. So it's kind of a neat little town. So there are carts, a few cars, and a tram line. So give me, my dear investigators, a spot hidden roll.
Exceptional success.
So glad I get advantage because I just rolled a critical failure and a 20.
No.
No.
That 20, Sean, is that a...
Oh, I'm
is
sorry.
that I don't know your numbers, bud.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm just... that's a hard success.
Okay. It doesn't matter anyway. So as you're coming in, sorry, as you're coming into
rolls
town,
out of the way now.
sorry, I'm being a brat tonight. Yeah. So as you came in and you passed by the train platform, you did see a welcoming sign, and it is near there. There's another hotel restaurant. It's called, I guess we're just going to call it what the English is. I can read enough French to know the White Rose. So it talks about, there's the welcoming sign. It's got the hotel restaurant, the White Rose. There's a pharmacy, and which is an English chemist. So which you all speak fluent, except for Cleo, right? The rest of you are fluent in the language of the land. Mm-hmm. Okay, so as you enter in, where would you like to go?
And it's early enough. What time of day is it at this point? Is it still morning?
You left in the morning. What time did you wake up?
Well, I guess that's the countess. I think the rest of us were up pretty early.
You guys were out really late the night before. I will say you were out until like the small hours. So the countess usually wakes up after 10 anyway. We'll say maybe you got going around 1.
Okay.
17 miles in a car. I don't know how fast cars traveled in the 20s. We'll give it another half an hour.
Yeah, it might be longer than that with the potential icy conditions.
So we'll say you're entering town about 2:30.
Did we want to hit City Hall to see if we can find any additional records about the Count? Because if we're going to do that, we're going to need to do it now before it gets much later.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So, as you are driving through town, you easily spot Town Hall. I do want to ask, do you stay in your car all day? Like, do you keep the car with you, or do you, like, tell him to wait somewhere and you go and start walking? It's just so I know if I need to...
How blisteringly cold is it?
It's January in France. I mean, I assume you have you're bundled up. I'm not... it's not like your eyebrows aren't freezing or anything. It's cold, but...
I say we take the car, park it by City Hall, and then if we need to do anything around the town, we just walk it, and then if we need to go to the property, if we find it, we take the car.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you easily find Town Hall. It is a 2-story building with a few colonnades around the porch entrance. You entree. Who would like to take point?
I will.
Okay. And I assume you'll be speaking French, or will you be speaking
We.
he?
We don't want to attract any attention with our German accents.
True. So, as you enter, you see, y'all have been in a town hall before. This really isn't that different. It's just a different time period. There's a lot of clerks, officials, people milling about. You see people probably coming there to petition or filing documents, permits, things like that, looking for their driver's licenses, waiting forever. You're looking for titles, deeds, all that crap. But there are some officials and clerks, and yes, may I help you?
Yes, I am looking for information on a distant cousin who had property near here near the time of the Revolution. I was hoping that you could help me.
The Revolution. Wow. Okay. Countess, give me number 1, a French roll. With butter, please.
Hold on. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Got it. That's a regular success.
Allah's tired of my shit. I saw the eye roll. It's painful.
I'll tell you from experience, Roxy, it doesn't take a lot to get that eye roll.
It's true. Is that a bingo square?
I
Allah
do it
rolls her
partially
eyes
for
just
the
at anybody?
No, it's just at Johanna's antics.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
That was a success on the.
Okay, fantastic. Also, give me a fast talker charm, just because of the stuff that you're wanting to look at is quite old and.
That's a hard success.
Fantastic. All right. Well, wow. The revolution. That's. We'll have to have someone escort you down to the storage area, but Sure. Just sign in here, and he gives you a little thing that you are more than welcome to sign in for. He knows that you are not a local, which is why he needed a little bit more convincing than just, I needed that fast talk roll. But, yeah. So go ahead, sign in, and he will take you down. Someone will take you down in order to pour over the deeds and titles of the village at the time of the Revolution. So,
Yeah, I will sign in clearly, making it very clear that I am a countess, and then follow down whoever goes that direction.
And he... Oh, okay. Here is my associate... Here's my associate, Tomas, and he will take you down. I don't have French names. Don't look at me that way. And he will take you down. And so, yeah, he does. He takes you... you are granted access to this massive hall of just boxes and boxes of documents. They are well, noted as far as what the boxes contain and things like that. So I'm going to need anybody who is going to be rifling through papers and boxes. Give me those library rolls.
I don't know how useful Cleo will be, but she
Hey,
can't she can't read it.
I got a success.
Maybe you could at least
Success.
point us to the right date location, and we could translate for you.
Yeah. That's a hard success.
Wow, nice.
Since I failed mine, then I'll just help Cleo by translating what she points at. Is that
Yeah,
it?
basically.
Okay.
Is that
We're
it?
helping.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, you are... French does use the same, letters, so you can at least probably locate something maybe that there's probably some words that you could pick out. You've been in France long enough now that you could probably poke at something with a stick and know what it says. But so I'm going to say it takes you a few hours. You're here. In fact, your guide is like, hey, we're going to close soon. Can you wrap it up? But you do find amidst the 18th century documents, you can pin down the former location of the Comte's Villa. It is on the outskirts of town. I will say that so Count Johanna got a hard success, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I will say that Cleo, you find the plans for the house. You find a blueprint of the old villa and the floor plan layout, all that stuff, and you recognize the name Phenolic. You don't recognize much else about it, but you're like, maybe this is useful. But again,
a laugh comes from the scroll case at her side. It's that.
See, we have to pin down how this laugh sounds. It's supposed to be creepy and like derisive. So it's yeah, we just keep going cartoon with it, and I just don't know.
Actually,
so,
I'm picturing the dog from the Hanna-Barbera. It was the like, sidekick of the villain.
Chumley?
Yeah, he had that kind of hoarse little. Yeah.
Honestly, no matter what it sounds like, it is a sketch that is laughing.
And it's
creepy. Like, it doesn't matter what it sounds like, it's creepy.
Yeah. You're absolutely correct. So yeah, you do find the plans for it. I will remind you that of course it has all been burned down, but it is kind of cool to see the plans for it. But you do locate where you do get like an idea of where it was, and Tomas helps you make copies and determine. He's like, oh, I know where this is, and he says, yeah, this is the and he goes through some other files that are much newer, and he says, oh yes, this is the home of the Lorient family. Dr. Christian Lorient is the current owner, and he gives you an address of 6 Enclos de la Baie, Poissy. So you do have an address now.
Lorient?
Lorient, Lorien.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the clerk if there are blueprints for the current home.
I will say with your no on your library use roll, no, there are not.
No, I'm asking the clerk if there's any plans.
Well,
I'm not looking for them.
We're getting ready to close, sir. So if we could just wrap it up and go, we usually don't. I mean. No.
Tomas, it would be quite advantageous if we could get as much information as possible. Perhaps we could make sure that your willingness to stay was properly compensated.
Well, I'm just saying, we probably don't have that. So, it's a newer build. It definitely wouldn't be in here. This is all older stuff.
But you would know where they stored the new deeds and everything that would have been needed to file to build the house.
I mean, perhaps, but I don't understand why there's people living there. Why do you need the plans for their home?
We just need to make sure that everything is following proper legal procedure. They acquired the property that is technically belonging to the family of the Countess. So
okay, give me a something. Give me a
I was going to use law for that.
Okay. If you're good at it, do
like
it. Pictures.
Like looking around as people are arguing in a language she doesn't understand.
It's a hard success, but I'm gonna burn 8 luck to make it a hard success.
Okay. Just a second, I'm actually looking for something.
So, fun title fact here in the United States. You're going to get a lot of these tonight if there's long pauses. Until recently, as recently as 1980s, we used to do things called abstracts in Indianapolis, which was basically just a really long search of anything that happened to the property, all the way back to when the government let people claim it. And they were giant rolls of paper, and they just kept adding to them over and over again. And now we're all digital, thank God.
And someday when the digital infrastructure crumbles, everything will be lost.
Yeah, that does worry me on from time to time, but also when that happens, I'm not going to have to worry about who owns a house and how many parcels you have.
Hopefully.
Because none of that really matters.
Go ahead and cast, if you will. Pop into your handout folder and into Paris. You will see two files now in there that say Paris Map Lorient 01 and Paris Map Lorient 02. And ignore some of the words because they don't matter right now. But that is
Orient.
That is the floor plan. So and the map of the grounds. I don't believe there's anything super spoilery in there. If there is, pretend like you didn't see it because you asked. Ignore that.
What about this? This is where you'll find the statue.
And what about the ominous bloodstains?
I mean, everything.
What about this bathroom?
That's probably It's France. It's probably not blood. It's probably wine.
You know. Was there really? There is a tunnel entrance on there. Well, fine. It's fine. It's fine. Ignore that because you guys pushed me to give you a map, fuckers. All right. So you're just supposed to get the address and go check it out. You just got to go talk to the doctor. I don't know what you want me to.
Okay. So my paranoid mind was thinking that this was going to be some creepy house. It was going to be rebuilt and match the old house.
No, absolutely.
That's what I was thinking and aiming at.
No, actually, it's literally just. It's literally just. It's just a house that was built, and the doctor owns it.
Okay.
He's the town doctor. People think he's pretty cool. There's no ominous dislike. I don't even know if they understand that their house is built on the site of this debaucherous hell pit that was owned by Comte Fenelick some 100 years ago.
The ghosts tell them then. Like they really are lacking if they're not telling them.
Well, maybe. It's just you don't want that. It's like you don't tell the new buyers of your house that your house is haunted or that somebody died in it. You're supposed to, but people don't.
I was just going to say that. I was like, you're supposed to.
Yeah, you are supposed to disclose that, but not everybody does. One thing you do find is Poissy was the birthplace of King Louis the Ninth, also known as Saint Louis. A monarch famed for his fairness who died of cholera in 1270 during the 8th Crusade. God, Roman numerals are killing me today. But there is a rather grandiose church that stands a walking distance from the train station. And as you're kind of going through things, you kind of find some of this. I think I told the cast about this before, but just a little tidbit. This is legit, y'all. Once the king died, his body was so foul. The king's body was so foul upon his death that a decision was taken to eviscerate him and embalm him summarily to preserve the corpse on the return to France. To stop putrefaction, the corpse was eviscerated and then dismembered, the pieces being then boiled in great vats of water and spiced wine to separate the flesh from the bones, which were then taken back on a perilous route to Paris. The entrails were separated, dilaceratio corporis, and given to a monastery in Sicily on the way back before being repatriated to Paris once the king had been canonized by the church in 1306. So,
man, people do
enjoy
weird
that.
Yeah, like
Right?
Like people had to do that. They had to like hire people to do that.
I feel like there were workshops in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, boil this man, these parts of this man, in water and spiced wine, please. Thank you.
Please, thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Because Jesus.
Here is that this is a 5-bedroom house with 1 water closet, and I'm concerned about that.
I'm just saying, you wouldn't even know. but yeah. Anyway. I just like that tidbit of history. But
Yeah.
so you make your way. I assume. Do you go towards the mansion, or do you fuck off and do something else?
Well,
Well, I
it is
mean-
rather late. I
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
was
you
gonna
want to pay
say.
visit right now.
It's about yeah, we're gonna say it's about 6 o'clock. You probably did stay a little later because you arrived late, but they did allow you are the Countess and her entourage. So so would you like to then stay at one of the hotels, or would you like to return to your manor?
It's another
I
hour drive.
I think that we go out to Chez Lorien, and find a way into the house that does not include Kelsey's specialties.
Well, we can send
knocking
a note.
on the door.
We can send a note to the doctor and request an audience the following morning, as is proper, ideally with a gift. We are not savages.
And if we want to, we can include in the note that we're simply fans of history and we're trailing down the last location known of this count that had some issues and that the Countess is studying the local lore.
Okay. If that is what you would like to do. I mean, so you're not going to play up the fact that you're not going to continue the ruse that this is family land
But,
and you want it.
About title in Europe, it's actually all France's land. It's allowed to be used, but France still owns it.
Okay. So that wouldn't have even worked in the first place. Good to know. Thomas and the other guy are stupid.
They just don't know. This was old, like, Regency rules, the pre-revolutionary. It's probably changed since then.
Or they just didn't care.
yeah, I was going to say, they're
We
like, I don't
could
get paid
still
enough for
mention
this.
Tomas didn't just sit through 9 hours of learning about title work, so I don't blame him.
Yeah.
For it.
For not, yeah. Okay, so you send a letter, is what I understood, correct?
Polite missive that we would
Ooh,
like to meet with them in the morning or probably closer to lunch, knowing Johanna's schedule.
I can't wake up earlier if you tell me there's a reason to.
Well, if we don't want to strain you, you're going to have to talk a lot. We need you at your best.
I hope you packed extra juice boxes, Emily.
Oh, she did.
Are we sending
Their wine.
Are we sending this note via the driver that we have?
Is there a courier service in this town?
I mean, maybe. The only person that's on staff with you is definitely the driver. So, so you are staying in town then, I guess. You're going to stay at one of the hotels? Okay. So let's go ahead and handle that. Let's get your room. And that way you can dismiss the driver to go do your bidding or find a courier service. You guys crack me up. So yeah, you get a room at do you want to stay at the Hotel of the White Rose, or do you want to stay at the Hotel of, what was the other one?
Rayan, it's something that you couldn't
Yeah,
say.
the one, Rouen. I have no idea how to say that word. How do you say that word? Somebody in the chat.
Can you spell it again?
Rouen.
R-O-U.
Rowan?
Rowan
Rowan?
probably would be my guess.
Hotel de Rouen. Yeah, go there. It's got a restaurant in it, but both of them have restaurants in it. So whichever one you would like to stay at, La Rose Blanche or Hotel de Rouen.
I mean, Cleo's not picky. She knows that the Countess is going to be the one that picks, like...
That sounds... It's
Where she
actually
wants to
pronounced
stay.
Rowan?
Rowan?
Yeah, Ron. More
Ron.
nasally. Rowan. But, you know, because you roll the R and then you get the vowel garbage.
Yeah,
And then you end with the
Rowan!
yeah, it's
Sounded like
yeah,
that,
there's glorious horse heads, you know, adorn like engraved horse heads adorning things cast in bronze, and
Lookouts looking for the signal fire.
Yeah, and you know, someone's just waiting by the phone to answer whenever
Whenever Gondor calls.
whenever Gondor calls. Sorry, guys. 2 weeks away. Do you miss us?
I know.
So you guys get your room. You write this missive, and it says something to the effect of, we would like to, we are visiting. We have heard great things about your property, and we'd like to see it, or what? What?
What's up, bro?
The family thing, because they can't trace it, and
Okay.
that way we can, I don't know, keep leaning on the same thing. That way, if they ask later, we don't seem off.
Yeah, it's consistent. We're like, hey, we used to own this land. We're just kind of, reminiscing.
Okay. I used to spend summers here with my father. We used to run amongst the grass, and they're like, we've lived here.
It's been in my
100
family for
years."
50 years.
I do not remember you. Okay, cool, fantastic. So, you send the driver to go send a message. Whether or not the driver takes it himself or finds a courier, I'm not going to make you have to worry about that. He will take care of it. So, you decide to stay. Is there anything that you would like to do this evening before you go to bed?
I am going to try and get Chloe to let me look over her notes.
Who's Chloe?
Damn it. I'm going to try and get Cleo to let me look over her notes.
Perfect. I guess give me a fast talk.
I mean, that's really up to Cleo. Like, this is a ongoing conversation we've had.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, she'll let you look at some of, because I know she at one point a while ago she transcribed some things that she thought were going to be safe enough to kind of read, but know that they wouldn't make much sense. That she can provide.
And that's it. I just wanted to spend the evening, like, looking over mythos-y-ish things.
Okay. If you do, give me a... Because this is stuff that you lost sanity for, right? Cleo? Yeah. So give me a sanity roll, Johanna.
And it's
When
not
you are
it's not
able.
everything. She wasn't like, here's the book.
It'll be a light sanity roll.
It's,
You okay there?
This cold is killing me, and it's just like, oh, I got a 1.
Okay, well, you're fine. You're like, I don't understand why she thought this was so tough. This is, I feel great.
It's like, because I put it through a sieve for you.
You actually gain 3 points of sanity from reading that.
It's great. This makes total sense. It's like a fairy tale that Cleo made up.
Honestly, now that you see it, it's just, makes sense. Everything's totally
Like
normal.
the 3 Little Pigs or something.
Yeah, and he blew the house down. Cthulhu did. So you do that. Anybody else do anything else?
I'm going to
Tonight.
just slip away and take a walk around the town.
Great, of course you are. All right,
No, just gonna slip away.
You just gonna walk?
Yeah.
Are you looking for something?
If I see something interesting.
Emily watches out the window. It just does this.
Actually, as soon as I get outside, let me roll.
She's like holding the sketch up at the window.
As soon as I stepped
Tackling at
outside,
you.
I got a hard success on my stealth roll.
Okay, fuck. Okay, so, honestly, while you're walking around, it is a quaint little town. You do see all the stuff that I described earlier. Now that it's later, it is kind of slowed down. There isn't as much hustle and bustle as you witnessed earlier in the day, but you do kind of start to.
Oh no, go ahead.
You do see a massive church in the distance that you kind of gravitate toward. You're like, well, I'm just going to go look and see what it looks like. And then this is actually, you actually find a convent of the Ursulines, or it used to be the erstwhile convent of the Ursulines. It is now a prison. And you, as you're kind of going by, you do see like wives and children of imprisoned imprisoned people waiting, begging for entrance to see their loved ones.
Was it not perhaps
but-
always a prison? Was that a bad joke?
Perfect joke. Keep it up.
Go to hell.
But yeah, so you kind of see that. You also pass. So that is the convent, or the prison that used to be a convent, and now you see the actual church. And this is the Collège Notre Dame de Poissy, and it contains the worn font of Saint Louis, worn from the belief that scrapings of the font when drunk with water would cure fevers. So that's something that you've heard people talk about. You may even see people like scraping a little bit from the font there. Of course, I mean the fountain, not the typeface, for those of you in the graphic business like me that see font and think copper plate. Or papyrus. There they go. Comic Sans. But yeah, so the fountain itself is encircled by spikes of forged and twisted metal, and kind of looks
intimidating
as shit. Yeah, it's a little forbidding, a little foreboding, and if you continue on in your walk and you pass through the archway, it actually feels kind of like you've stepped back in time, because it's very medieval and all of that, and it's the it used to be the Abbey of the Dominicans, and so the walls are kind of high, and it insulates them from the sound of the town and things like that. So it's a little creepy, but it's cool. So you're going on a little sightseeing trip there in Passy.
So those are the two main attraction points would be the convent / prison, and then this chapel. Those are like the two.
Those are the big ones. Yeah, you do find if you continue your walk, you find a large park, and older houses and mansions and things like that. But the direction that you're heading in the outskirts here, you're actually kind of heading towards the location of Chez Lorient.
I'm not going to go that far. Turn back. Is there any shops that are open on the way back?
Oh, I'm sure. A general store. There is that chemist, the English chemist, the pharmacy, things like that.
Anything? Okay, because I'm just going to be a horrible person. I'm going to go into the general store and buy something moderately expensive looking, pay for it, but when I bring it back, just let everybody wonder.
Moderately expensive looking,
like something that looks like you would want to steal, maybe.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So you go and you find, I don't know, some shiny knickknack.
Yeah,
that
10 or 15 francs.
Yeah, it's actually, it looks like a gilded horse of the Rohirrim. It is there. It matches the decor. It looks of Hotel de Rohan, and you just kind of, I'm gonna say it's hand sized. Okay. So you could pocket it, but it's visible in your pocket.
Okay.
And maybe his little horse hoof is just like hooked out over the side of your pocket. And if someone with wandering eyes would like to give me a spot hidden to see if they notice it, Emily, because you're the one who's always keeping tabs on everyone.
Well, he's got a record.
I do not have a record. I've never.
He does not have a record. He has a reputation.
Well, I did roll a 3, so.
You definitely see it, and you're like, that looks moderately expensive. Where did you? And you did not have that before. Where?
I just make a quiet note of it and deduct the approximate cost from his stipend.
Nice. Wow, you paid for that bitch twice, bud. Sorry about it.
The stipend is neither here nor there.
Clearly, other methods are just not working.
I don't think Kelsey gives 2 craps, but okay. So, does anyone else would like to do anything tonight? Would anybody else like to do something else tonight?
Leo's just looking over the copies that they made of the old blueprints, not the new ones, but the original house or manor. Or whatever.
Okay, fantastic. Cool, fantastic. So you do that. You go to sleep. You sleep the sleep of the dead. You wake up, feeling refreshed Sorry, that.
Is it the sleep of the dead or the sleep of the undead?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, did you coalesce out of smoke and touch some creepo's face?
I don't know. Did he?
Give me a power roll. No. Yeah. So you wake up and So you wake up and you take breakfast. Do you wake up before 10, or do you go ahead and let the Countess sleep in?
The Countess set an alarm in her room for bright and early at like 9. No, like 7.
9:30. Let's be reasonable.
Early enough that she's downstairs with coffee waiting on everyone else. She's making a point now.
6 a.m.
I was gonna say, Emily is probably down there already reading the paper, and there is this wonderful article, or just a brief little headline that says, "New administrator of Carrington Asylum electrocuted by rogue device," and yeah, what was his freaking name? I don't even remember his name, but yeah. Once.
Dr. LaRue. Dr. LaRue.
LaRue.
Dr. LaRue. Dr. LaRue was they used electrocution properly. He did die from.
Oh no!
Oh no! How horrible!
That's cool.
Yeah, Asylum Carrington is thrown into disarray with their second administrator death in as many weeks. So
It's cursed.
Guard that was beaten to death and left in the basement.
Not beaten.
no one has found the bleeding closet yet, or its new occupant.
No, you doubt how the level of petty that Joanna is? Yes, she's up at like 5:45, already downstairs with her coffee, waiting.
Okay. Well, the rest of them are not awake until at least 9. So, well, except for Emily. Emily's like, oh.
Raises a single eyebrow and then goes back around her morning tasks of reading the paper and enjoying her coffee in peace.
When I read the paper, I'll look at Emily and be like, wow, they really do go through administrators here.
It's a terrible accident-prone place.
Asylum's dangerous for all.
Just very unfortunate.
So sad.
I will say that in your letter, you did mention that where you were staying, and if one of you would like to check with the front desk, nobody comes and gets you. Your driver is probably still staying there, but you did not indicate that you would need him, so he is still asleep.
I'll check at the front desk. Yeah.
Okay. Countess, it is wonderful to see you. I trust that your accommodations were
The coffee
acceptable?
is top rate. The bed was almost perfect. I couldn't have slept better at home.
Thank you so much. I am quite humbled by your praise. We do have a reputation for having damn good coffee. Would you? It's interesting. Someone dropped a letter off for you this morning, and
I thought that might be the case. Was there any message with the letter?
no, just the letter. But it is addressed to you. And he reaches down behind the counter and he hands you a small envelope with your name on it.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind ringing our driver's room and making sure that he is awoken so that he can be prepared for when we're ready to leave.
Oh, of course. And he snaps and sends a bellboy up to go knock on the door and make sure that the driver is awake.
Yeah, I'm going to go sit down with Kelsey and Emily and kind of open the letter and read it semi out loud. Like, not super loud, just not quietly, not silently.
Sure. It is a simple letter that says, "Oh, it would be lovely to have you. Please do join us for lunch, and you can tour the grounds and the home as you would see fit."
Suspicious.
No, they're just being polite. We'll get them a moderately
Vampires.
priced bottle of wine and some chocolates or whatever is customary among French people, but the polite thing to do.
Yeah, they are. I mean, especially since you signed it, Countess, you do get the impression that the letter is very polite. Not overly like warm or anything, but it's brief.
But like
Small
Countess
car.
who? Well, it's Countess, so yeah,
I thought
guess.
this land was owned by someone else.
So after we've gotten all 4 down, Cleo, I assume, comes down sometime.
Yeah, she doesn't sleep too late. She's probably actually. I just didn't say it because we were all talking, and so I was like, she's there.
Yeah, the driver is ready. I'll suggest that we head that direction, and at least give the property a pass by before we go at lunch.
Okay. You just want me to drive by, okay? And so you do. As you guys drive out to the outskirts of Poissy, and you see a large house surrounded by a large and crumbling brick wall, obviously of 18th century work. The walls are in part supported by massive climbing rose bushes which cover them, and the roses you believe would be incredibly beautiful in the spring. Their perfume filling the area. However, it is winter, and it looks rather grim and foreboding, having been pruned back and resembling twisted and knotted barbed wire. You do see a gateway. There is no gate in it, but since you are just driving past this time, you just kind of, through the gateway, you can see a small 2-story brick house. Smoke rises from the chimney, and it looks rather quaint and inviting on this cold day. Based on the documents that you were able to find yesterday at Town Hall with regarding Comte Fenwick's villa, you are quite confident that this is definitely where his raised mansion once stood, and the home is built right over the top of it.
Fantastic. So, yeah, go back to the hotel and then wait for lunchtime, and then head back out.
Okay. I'll actually say that you don't even have to go back to the hotel. You actually drive past it, and you kind of circle a little bit, and if everything seems okay, then it's close enough. You could arrive a little early. Makes it seem like you're excited. Things like that. Okay. So yeah, the driver waits in the car, and the 4 of you approach the front door. And I assume you knock. Countess, do you take point again, or does someone else?
I'll take point again, yeah.
Okay. The door opens, and a gentleman greets you. A little curious, a little, but obviously trying to be polite. And he says, "Oh, you are a bit early, Countess."
Yes, I am Countess Johanna Rinaldi Stad, and these are my companions, Ms. Emily Brandt, Mrs. Emily Brandt, I would have said that correctly, Mr. Kelsey Haskins, and Miss Cleo Dandridge. Chloe. Cleo.
Please.
You had it right the first time. Wonderful. My name is Dr. Christian Loria, and please do come in. Do come in out of the cold. And he ushers you in. He's middle-aged, probably late 30s, early 40s, has close cropped hair, a thin mustache. He's fairly handsome, and looks again. He's pleasant and warm. But he does seem to kind of bustle around. He's like, "You are not. It's very cold out there. You are not wearing enough layers for the cold. Please." He's like, "Please do sit over here." He welcomes you into his kitchen, where he prepares coffee, and invites you to sit around a table. As he's doing things, if you would like to, he's like, "So family land, you say?"
It has been some time. I had a cousin that I believe owned the land closer to the time of the Revolution, and I thought that we would stop by and just see what had happened to the land. My father impressed upon me the importance of history and of leaving the world a little different, but in a better way. And my cousin definitely left the world. I'm not sure if there's any other change besides that, and I wanted to see.
I mean, we all do we not?
I hope we do. I hope we do. How long have you lived here on this property?
Really not that long. I completed my training in Paris, and then met my wife Veronique, and she will be here shortly. She was expecting you a little later, but and we've only been here about 6 years.
Oh, we would have brought another bottle of wine, something appropriate. Like we're coming to visit, so we would have brought something as well.
Oh, yes.
Sure. Thank you. It is a bit early in the day for me to be.
Oh no, of course. But I thought that you and your lovely wife would enjoy something, perhaps from closer to my homeland. So probably something from a region near Austria.
Okay, fantastic. He is very thankful. He actually, as he's talking to you and preparing the coffee, and he takes the wine, a small child of about 3 patters into the room and hides a little bit behind her papa's legs, and she's watching, and you know, she's cute. She's got big blue eyes and we'll say brown hair, and she kind of is peering out, seeing whomever might be talking. She might make goofy little faces at someone, smile real big, and then hide.
Leo is definitely like making faces at her.
Nice. Okay. Well, then the little girl, and he's this is my daughter, Katri, and she is you guys, as you said, she's curious, she's lovely, and when Cleo starts making faces at her, she runs to stand with Cleo, and she babbles in a 3-year-old broken French, and
Leo wouldn't know the difference.
and she doesn't seem to care that you can't speak it. She actually kind of giggles a little bit, and she just listens to you. And his wife, Veronique, she shows up here in a moment, and she says, "Oh, you've already arrived. It's lovely to see you all. We have not had anyone in the home that was not a patient in quite some time."
Your husband has been quite hospitable and has been telling me a little bit about his time here at this property and how long he's been here.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have only been here 6 years. It's fascinating. The home is not nearly as old as the others in the area. But you said the land, right? Not necessarily the home.
It is our understanding that the property, the building that was here, that my cousin owned, was burned through some happenstance. You know how buildings like this out away from things with no real fire department nearby. Unfortunately, things just happen.
Yeah, there actually was a pretty terrible fire not that long ago. Since we've been here, another home met the same fate, but it's quite frightening. Thankfully, our houses are far enough apart out here that doesn't cause too much of an issue. Katri actually climbs into your lap, Cleo, and you get the impression that she wants to be entertained, and and she just is focused on you almost entirely. All this talk with the adults just doesn't interest her whatsoever.
She's doing small little like magic tricks, not like, she's not like conjuring anything. But
yeah. Nice. Yeah, you're like making her
watch your small belongings. They will be sticky.
Yeah. Go ahead, and anyone who would like to, give me a spot hidden.
I mean, sure, Cleo's a little preoccupied.
I got it right on the number.
For
Right,
success,
yes.
regular?
Hard success.
Fantastic. So as you guys are watching, and Christian is making coffee, and Veronique is joined you at the table, and you're all kind of just discussing and having chit chat about the house and the area, you do notice a particularly nasty scar on the back of Christian's left hand, which disappears up his sleeve. So,
He's of
if
the
if
appropriate age to have served in the war, right?
um. Perhaps he does not mention having served in the war. However, he says he did all of his training. He did not. Uh, I mean, yeah, he's old enough.
That was it. That was my only question.
Okay.
I'll touch on it here in a minute, but I'm going to wait to see where he goes.
Does the scar look? Does it look uniform, jagged? Is it looks like a strip of skin was removed?
No, it definitely looks like it probably was a jagged laceration of some type. It's not clean, but you are just viewing it while he's working across the way there, and he says, well, it's fascinating to me. We have not met anyone else who's come out asking about the land as such. We love it out here, though. Little Katri loves playing when the weather's nice. The grounds are just absolutely beautiful. The rose bushes are a little treacherous, though, so we try to keep her away from those. The thorns are quite just sharp, painful. We've had a couple workers catch themselves out there. And he sits down with you and continues making small talk. Do you have anything specific you would like to ask him?
The scar on his arm, is it old or does it look new? Like, does it have like a kind of a faded look to it, or does it still like pretty pink and fresh? And
it's not so fresh that you think that it's happened particularly recently, but it is definitely not like really old either. It's happened. If he sees you, I'm going to say that he sees you kind of, if anybody is kind of taking note of the scar and visually kind of studying it from afar, he would say, oh, and he kind of covers it with his hand, and he says, those thorn bushes I mentioned, that's, last year I was pruning the roses, and I got caught in the thorns quite a bit, and despite my best efforts, it became quite infected. I was ill for a number of weeks afterward.
Cleo leans over to Kelsey and says, ask him if the rose bushes have always been here or if he planted them.
So, the rose bushes, were they part of the property when you moved in here, or did you plant those?
Oh no, those have been here for quite a long time. The wall itself is original to the property. May have stood here even when your family had the property.
No, relay
Fascinating.
that to Cleo.
So you have been here 6 years. Do you know who owned the house before you, or did you build the house?
Oh no, I did not build the house. The house had already been built here. We just happened to luck into it when we got here. It's about this time that Veronique, she looks a little she pales a little bit, and she excuses herself upstairs, and she says, "Pardon, I am feeling a little dizzy," and she heads off, and he says, "I'm sorry. Let me help her. I'll be right back." And he leaves you there in the kitchen with his daughter.
Ooh, trusting.
Well, I mean,
A little weird.
Worry about the kid. Wife falling down the stairs because she's dizzy. Let me go help her. do you keep your line of questioning while you had chit chat with him? Do you keep your line of questioning all above table, all above, like, it's the land, family,
Right
or do you mention anything that was perhaps related to your lines of investigation?
Nothing yet along those lines. Eventually we'll get there, but once he leaves the table, I'll look at the other three and say, rose bushes aren't that dangerous. My father raised his own bit, and they don't typically attack people. Not like that.
No,
It could have been infected. That is.
But two workers and him over that short of time?
the infection wouldn't leave a scar. I mean, that was a pretty nasty cut.
And if the walls have been here since Fenalik, there could be some sort of maybe resonance, Cleo?
I mean, there's the possibility that the cellars that they had are still here.
Leo looks at the group, and she's kind of still, playing with this child. And she looks at all of them and she says, well, I can't speak to her, but traditionally children of 3 years old can't lie if you have anything to ask her. She's playing with her.
I will look at the little girl and say, her name is Cleo, and she would like to know if you've seen anything interesting in the house. What's your favorite thing about the house?
Oh, God. 3-year-old.
Roleplay a toddler for us, Rue.
Fuck you guys. Okay.
Well, there is the bushes.
So yeah, there's Ro. I should have John do this. He works with
And the
toddlers all
thin
the time.
man who stares at me while I sleep.
My favorite part of the house is
me.
I love running in grass and it's fun, but it's cold right now and I don't like the snow. I don't like it. But I love this house and I love mommy and daddy and I love you and I love my friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but people come and visit all the time and they're all my friends. And she doesn't have like a favorite part of the house. The house is all the same to her.
Is it just you and your mom and dad that live here?
Yeah, just us.
Is there?
I have a cat that's trapped in a room and he's meowing very loudly. Sorry.
Is that real life or is that the kid saying she's got a cat trapped in a room?
No, that's me. That's me.
Yowling cat is also accurate for sounds toddlers make.
Yeah, meow.
And I'm going to look at her and say, well, there's nothing interesting in the house. I was like, what about outside? What do you do? Where's your favorite place outside?
Oh, I love to just run around and we play hide and seek sometimes and it's really, really fun. But no one ever finds my hiding spot.
Really? Do you have a really good hiding spot?
I mean, if I tell you where it is, you will win and that is not fun.
Well, what if we go outside and play with you?
It's too cold. Daddy says it's too cold.
Well, if me and my friends wanted to play a game of hide and seek, could you tell me so I could beat them?
Maybe later. So there's some bushes out there in the grass, and if you hide in the bushes, they don't see you.
Can we see
It's
into
like
the
covering
back?
her ears as if she understands.
Can we see into the backyard from here?
I mean, you can see out a window. I don't know if there's like technically a backyard. It's just all grass and there's like a pond and.
I'm gonna stand up and look over at walk over to the windows and look over the area and see if I can see the bushes she's talking about.
You see several smatterings of bushes and a couple trees.
I'm gonna in French, up. You want up? And I'm gonna pick her up and go to the windows and you gotta show me which bushes so I can beat my friends.
And she starts to kind of point, and about this time Christian returns and he says, oh, Ketri, I hope you are not you are not bothering these poor people.
She was
Okay.
with information about where her favorite hiding spots are. It's very endearing.
She gave us quite a fright one time. She was out there playing hide and seek. We should just turn back up, but yeah, she won't tell us her hiding spots.
Is your wife
but-
feeling?
She, I believe so. She's been in. She's had a lot of pain of late. The turn in weather has really had a severe effect on her arthritis, and sometimes the pain is severe enough that she gets a little lightheaded. And don't worry, I've given her a mild sedative to ease the pain. She should be fine. It's the damnedest thing.
I thought she might have looked a little anemic.
Like telling this doctor.
Yeah, I'm an expert.
Where did,
MD, you know.
Where did you get your training, Monsieur Haskins?
I don't. My boss back at home suffers from anemia, and he gets lightheaded and dizzy if he hasn't had enough iron in his diet. So, unfortunately, he's very fond of eating liver, spinach, all of that kind of stuff, so that the dizzy spells don't impact him.
Those are very healthy things to consume for sure. If you are suffering from an iron deficiency, as you suggest, my wife, though, however, no, it's just a severe arthritic attack. It's the damnedest thing, though. You know, she's had arthritis for a number of years, but this only affects her left hand and her left arm. It's very strange.
His scar is on which arm?
The left. So for a second, we're going to go ahead and take our break here because I think there's enough of a lull in the conversation. And we can get back to the I'm afraid if you guys start asking nitty-gritty questions, it's going to take us past our break time. So let's go ahead and do the 10 minutes. Let's take a pause and get your drinks, use the restroom, stretch your legs, get your juice boxes, and we'll be back in 10. Please don't go anywhere. It would make me very sad.
Can it get real awkward when I come back with a whole box full of wine? Get my juice box.
You know, the other night I was playing with a party, and they definitely at one point I heard this sound, and I glanced at the Zoom meeting, and there was a box of Franzia just hoisted and just having a time. I was like, wow, it's been a hard Wednesday. So, but yeah, stick with us, guys. We'll be back in 10 minutes, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys.
Throughout the day.
Hello, and welcome back to Horror on the Orient Express. Sorry, we've been dealing with some technical issues. I didn't think it was me, but it was, of course, me. But I was informed by someone in the chat that you guys could not hear what I was hearing. So maybe it's just me. I'm just having a day.
It's all about
So I apologize.
It's all about you.
No shit, Sherlock. That's always about me. Yeah, so anyway, you guys are in this, I'm trying to think if we have any announcements. We have Emerald City Nights happening on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That is the Shadowrun 5th edition game that has been going on. I think this week is episode 3. Yes?
Yep.
Oh, we do have Pirates this week. How did I forget Pirates? We do have By Leaps and Bounties on Tuesday at 7 p.m. And so, yeah, come out for that, because that show is going places. It's doing things.
Join us for more trauma.
Yeah,
Have we
more.
been getting Charles to cry on a regular basis?
Yeah, basically.
My understanding is that the show's going to open with him crying, so we're gonna like start it off right this week. So
Get it with more crying at the end.
It's going to be a full session of crying.
we like to bookend our trauma with crying and more trauma. So we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of shit happening. As it is, I will say that Thursday we also have Growing Shadows at 7 p.m. Again, all our shows I think this week are 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, because we just moved By Leaps and Bounties back to 7 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, we had to make that show 4 hours because people are crazy.
So much drama.
So much drama.
Can I plug the thing? Jen's thing.
Oh yeah.
So our good friend Jen Brazos, who is our chief of engineering over on the Voyages of, has a Kickstarter up, which I should be proactive and go get the link for that to put it in chat.
Yeah, it's the Friend Folio. I know the name of it, but
She has some shirts and stickers and pins together. It looks really good, and it's directly benefiting like her. Like, this is her work. This is what she does. She goes around to cons every year and sells her stuff. So the art's great. I really like it, and you should check it out. Go ahead and go on over to the link I'm about to drop in chat and check that out. And, part of the community and one of our cast members to a different game.
Absolutely. Can you all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm hearing it again. So I've got all my stuff turned down as low as I can take it, without you guys not being able to hear me. So it's only when you're talking at the same time, man. That's what I'm finding. So
That's interesting.
it's fun stuff. But as long as the chat doesn't think they can hear it, says they can't hear it, then I will just do my best to talk over myself. If you've never had to do that, it's quite difficult. When you're on a delay, it's quite difficult. So you are in Chez Lorien. You're talking to the town doctor, Christian Lorien. His wife, Veronique, has just gone upstairs with an arthritic attack that made her a little dizzy. The pain was so bad. He gave her a mild sedative, and but he has returned to speak with you.
Which I thought at first was a little weird, and then realized it isn't that weird.
What I'm sorry, you
That he like gave her a sedative. I was like, that seems a bit extreme. But I was like, oh, it's
you
the
know
20s.
what? Yeah, if you take any time at all to read any like Agatha Christie or anything from the time period, doctors were dosing people constantly.
Yeah,
There was
constantly.
just everybody got mild sedatives. Do you feel a little ill? Here, sleep.
There's some medical grade heroin.
Exactly. Yeah, so no, not at all. And this one was a mild sedative, so she's just resting. But yeah, he comes back and he takes his coffee, and his daughter is still sitting there with you. She returns to Cleo's lap. You got me saying it now. To Cleo's lap, and she's kind of like poking at your tattoos that she can see, if she can see any on your arms, and she thinks they're really cool. And she's tracing them and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if you have anything that you would like to talk to him about,
So
you kind of have his undivided attention.
I'm sorry. So, Doctor, some of the writings from my cousin, we were sent one of his journals. He mentioned some things that were. I'm concerned that he was losing his mind. Have you noticed anything on the grounds in the house? Anything strange?
I mean, not really. What kind of things? What made you think that he was losing his mind?
He mentioned that things were moving on their own. I've spent some time in London, and the popular thing to do is seances, contacting spirits. And while I don't know if I believe or don't, I try and keep at least an open mind. There's potential, especially for countries like England and France that have a long history. If something like that exists, I think that kind of thing would be more likely in a place like this. And I'm just wondering if you've noticed anything at all like that. Anything moving by itself, or things moving when you and being found in a place where they're not supposed to be. Anything like that.
Nothing like that. No, things moving as they shouldn't, and what have you. I will be honest. As a man of science, we do not usually partake in seances.
Of course.
Should you?
The idle rich, as it were. If you'll indulge me, it's just a. Is he clearly telling the truth, or is he?
Yeah, he doesn't.
But he hasn't seen anything at the house.
No, he is not. I will say that while you're talking, he's like, nothing like that. I will say that there has been other interest in this house of late. We received a strange letter the other day, but that's about it. You know.
Can I? Who was the letter from? If you mind me asking. Yeah, listen.
Huh? Okay. So he says, "Well, excuse me. I'll fetch it." And he does so, and I'm going to drop you another handout. 1 second.
Oh, goody.
Handout time. If it's on a mysterious piece of paper, we're out of here.
It is called Paris number 6.
Okay.
Maybe if it shows up for you guys, it doesn't show up for me.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay, give me a second. I'll find it, and I'll read it to you, and then I'll get it to you.
That's the
came
one
up for me.
That's the one from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you got
okay.
it.
Do we
I just
recognize
need to
that
give it
name?
No, but we recognize the thing like 6 lines down.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm
Now we're
hearing
getting your
myself.
feedback again.
We're getting way bad feedback on you there, Matt, and I heard all of that time too.
Cool.
It's very strange. We don't know what's going on, y'all. We don't know what's going on. So he comes back with this letter. It is from number 50, Rue Saint Etienne, in Lausanne, Switzerland, and it says, "To whom it may concern, I realize that I am a complete stranger and that this letter may well mean nothing to you. My name is Edgar Wellington, and I am researching the history of a statue known most commonly as the Sedefkash Simulacrum. I don't remember how to say that word. I recently came into possession of an old scroll which presents an intriguing description of the item. This piqued my interest, and I am now endeavoring to trace the simulacrum. My search has led me to your address. The name is probably meaningless to you, but through my researches, I have learnt that the last recorded resting place of the piece of art was in the house that occupied your land in the late 18th century. The statue was a unique Arabian artifact lost during the events of 1789. Its last owner was a German nobleman who once lived where you live today. Please, I ask that if you have heard any local stories regarding this item, or maybe found any traces of the old house and its possessions on your land which might give a clue as to the eventual fate of the object, would you be so kind as to write to me with a summary of the information? I apologize for the rather strange nature of my request, but I feel that I should pursue whatever leads remaining to me. I hope that you will not go to any great length regarding this. Yours most sincerely, Edgar Wellington. And he says, it's funny that you ask about the house and you say that you have family from here, but I assume perhaps you were related to the nobleman that once had this land?
That seems like the case, perhaps.
Okay. Do you recognize any of these other words? I mean, we have not seen anything. No.
What language is the letter in?
It's French.
I will hand it around. If he handed it to me, I'll hand it around, and then I'll look over at Emily and just like raise an eyebrow, like, okay.
I'll quietly read the letter to Cleo. Wow.
Okay.
I'm familiar with, Arabian artifacts of some sorts, but I've not heard of this. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that name.
Truly, it is meaningless to me as well. This letter arrived some time ago, several weeks, and I have not, life is busy. We have not been able to respond to it of yet, but I mean, if you would like a copy of it, if it means something to you, you are more than welcome to do so. Maybe you can contact this man. I don't know if you plan to go to Switzerland anytime soon.
Interestingly enough, I believe that our next stop is the train station to board the Orient Express.
Oh, fantastic. I've heard wonderful things about traveling on that train. Like, just exquisite service. They miss nothing. They are almost premonitory in how they predict your needs. It's, someday I would love to be able to travel on such a train, but as the town doctor, there's not a whole lot of time for days off,
No, there's not.
I will...
Anything of this before?
Of what?
Of the artifact he speaks of. Or have
No, not at all. He's like, we've never seen anything of besides the walls that perhaps were here when the nobleman occupied the land. We have not found anything or seen anything, and as you asked, things don't tend to be out of place or move on their own or anything like that. That's not something that we've experienced at all. And I mean, go ahead and give me a psychology or psychoanalysis roll, whichever you would like.
That is a hard success for me.
Yeah, he seems completely open and honest. They, honestly, all of you would have gotten the impression from them, besides perhaps Mrs. Lorion's onset of dizziness and the child's hyperactivity and babbling. Everything, they seem like a very content and peaceful people. They don't seem like they're trying to lie or hide anything whatsoever. They are, maybe at first were cautious just because, it's an interesting thing that you've decided to come and ask them about, but more curious than anything.
I'm getting a little restless, so I'm going to kind of try to catch Cleo's eye. I can't remember. Do you smoke, Cleo?
Yes.
I'm going to look at you as time for a cigarette break. Excuse us, Countess, and excuse us, Doctor. We're going to step outside.
As this happens, Kateri is still on your lap. Cleo has returned to your lap when her father returned and you guys left the window. And she's, she's like holding on to your hands and moving them around. And she actually, she shakes your arm in such a way and it gets a little farther than she intended. And hot coffee, it knocks into your coffee mug. Or your coffee cup, and hot coffee spills onto her left arm and onto your lap. And it's not so hot that it's scalding or anything, but it's definitely discomfort. And um, uh, Christian's like, oh, and the child is screaming unholy terror at this, and um, you know it actually describes it screaming like a demon. It's as if her arm has been cut off. The pain that she is seemingly trying to or experiencing from the sound she's making is far worse than what you might assume it should be. Um, uh, I'm so sorry, and Christian runs off. He grabs a cloth and he comes back and he hands you, Cleo, the cloth, and he picks up his daughter and it's okay, everything's gonna be fine. And he's kind of drying her arm off and she's sobbing and crying into his shirt, and he says, please excuse me, and he takes her into the bathroom, and you can hear him kind of running cold water, and he's trying to shush her, and he's like, it's okay, everything is okay. And um he's like, I've got the lotion that you like so much, and he puts some lotion on her arm, and he's speaking very quietly, and he seems like he's a very attentive dad, and a doctor. And when they return, you see a very long line of inflamed skin on her left arm.
While
And-
he's gone, I'll look over at Cleo and in English say, "Do you feel anything? Are you sensing anything at all?"
Important note taking is happening.
I mean, you can tell from the tongue.
Pardon.
Well, I think we know what part of the simulacrum is here.
That's a solid point. Didn't think that far ahead, but I like where you're at.
She'll do a general. Oh, I am. Good. I had to mute briefly. She'll do a general sense of the space.
Okay.
Especially based on, and it's like when it happens to the little girl, he like jumps to the rest or what have you. Cleo kind of tries to kind of is like, oh, we're getting on the train, and it's like she like makes it a game to like get the little girl like into her dad's arms, this stuff, just to sort of like, 'cause she's like so traumatized, the little girl, not Cleo.
Sure. Yeah. No, well, you all might be a little traumatized. This girl she screams. She flat just hollers.
Yeah, and it's like the second that she that it's more than a scream of just like, oh, surprise. It's like Cleo.
Okay.
It like reaches out.
Go ahead and just for grins give me a medium roll. I just need a regular success just to say that you're tapping into the energies around you.
Yeah, that's a hard success.
Fantastic. You don't feel anything in particular, like a presence or anything like that, but you definitely feel something on the fringes. And I'll say that, and as while you're reaching out, you feel a sorry, a prickling, and
Say it.
yeah, you feel a prickle tickle in your left arm. Kind of painful. Like, the more you reach out, the more it kind of hurts. And wow, the more it's hurting. And it's ow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She, just for shits and giggles. She keeps herself open despite the fact that it's like, oh, fuck, that hurts.
Yeah.
And she reaches into her pouch to take out some of, like her purifying water, her Florida water, whatever you want to call it. And she dabs it on her arm.
You feel a little soothing from that, but you still have a lingering ache in that arm as long as you stay open.
She sort of like holds up her arm. She's like, something weird.
Do you have a question, Miss?
Doctor, you mentioned that you had two workers that were wounded by the thorns.
Oh, yes. I mean, they were helping me trim back
On their
the
left
bushes.
arms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, listen.
your scar came from the thorns on your left arm.
Yeah. Why?
And your daughter's burn is on her left arm, and your wife is having trouble with his left arm, her left arm.
I mean, we only have the two, so I mean, it's a 50-50 chance that the left arm might get injured.
That 5 people would experience pain in the same arm, Doctor?
I'm left-handed, as is my wife. So being that it is our dominant hand, sometimes things happen to them. Hence her arthritis. Now, as far as the child getting burned, that is just the side of the table. I get the impression that you look for meaning in many things that may be beyond
like patterns,
observable. I mean, a pattern is one thing, but accidents are another.
Are there any accidents?
Did any patients perhaps report any injuries of a similar nature, or had worsening pain while they were here? Just to for purely scientific analysis, to expand the scope of.
No, honestly, no. I'm sure there have been patients that have had injuries to their left arm, but nothing worsening. As being I get the implication that you are saying that you believe that my house is injuring left arms, which is very.
No,
very strange.
I don't believe that. I think that at most there is.
Are you saying I injure left arms?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Your American friend seems to have something he would like to say.
No,
I think he needs a smoke.
He understands French all that well. Mr. Haskins, please feel free to go out and smoke.
How long do you intend to stay? If you're going to be here longer, I could, we could make sure that the staff knows that you'll be here for dinner.
Well, you mentioned a tour of the grounds and the house. I would like to see the grounds. I wouldn't wish to disturb your wife while she is resting. I don't know arthritis, but my father complained at length about it, and it sounds terrible. So I wouldn't wish to interrupt her rest for that. But I wouldn't mind looking around the grounds and seeing a wall built a little in the late 1700s, a little closer.
Okay.
If it is any issue, you need to attend to your daughter. We don't need any supervision. We will be out of your hair shortly.
Of course. So you won't be staying for dinner then?
No. I wouldn't wish to inconvenience you. You've indulged me more than it was necessary, and I am quite grateful for that.
Okay. All right. I mean, honestly, I do believe that if you did choose to stay, it'd be fine. My wife was very looking forward to your company. I regret that she has not been able to stay for all of our conversation, but go ahead and give me another psychoanalysis roll. Anybody who wants.
Oh, that's a hard success.
Hard success as well.
He remains
exceptional success.
Oh, fantastic! You don't even know what he's saying. That's amazing.
I know.
The
body language, energy.
Yeah. He seems rather flattered, is almost kind of sad that you don't wish to stay for dinner. He was looking forward to entertaining,
Well-
but he's rather flattered that you do have such interest in the home, even if he's a little the questioning of the left arm and things like that.
Well,
kind
if
of
he
threw
wants
him
us
off.
to stay, maybe we can indulge him. Assuming it is up to the Countess, of course, but I suppose we don't want to impose, but you have already prepared your home for us.
We have
It can be done.
absolutely nothing pressing. I didn't wish to put your wife in a position where she felt like she needed to host while she was in pain. There's no need for that.
It's like I said, I do believe she would enjoy the company, but please,
She's
I do-
sedated.
She's asleep. And it's only mid-afternoon at this point, or midday. You guys did come for lunch, but he says, please, if you would like to take note of the grounds, I do have patients that will come call today that I will need to see. But should you have any issues, please do let me know. And I will do what I can. We don't have a lot of staff here, but I do keep like a gardener. There's a gardener, and we do have someone who does help with Ketri while I am working and Veronique is not available. So please enjoy your time. I need to go get ready for a patient. And he excuses himself and kind of gives you the run of the property for the time being. So,
I mean, we're all thinking what I'm thinking, right? It's the bushes where the kid hides has got to be.
Something weird. Cleo also, she kind of takes off and she excuses herself to the room.
Okay.
And while she is in the bathroom, she is going to put some Florida water into that lotion just to help the little girl a little bit more.
Okay.
While you're in the bathroom, check the master bedroom. Make sure the wife isn't strapped down and tormented.
Yeah, because the only
You would
bathroom
hear the
is
scream.
upstairs. So you had to go all the way upstairs for that. Because it's a 5-bedroom house with 1 bathroom upstairs.
It's just how they made them back then.
That is strange that it said that you guys could hear. Like, it describes. Maybe they assumed that you followed him all the way.
But that's not.
Anyway, so yeah, so you guys kind of have you have the run of the place for a little bit.
Check the bushes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Definitely.
gonna go outside and go through the grounds, but mostly those bushes first.
Yeah.
If we happen upon the groundskeeper or the gardener, it might be helpful to see if they have any odd pains or aches in their left arm as
Sure.
well.
Let's see here. Give me 1 second. So you immediately go outside. You do not even stay in the house at all.
Correct. That sounds ominous.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure you're all going alone, right?
No,
You're
it's
splitting
nothing like
up,
that.
right?
It's not like that. I'm
To be clear,
Are you sure?
you're touching that thing.
No. So you go outside. I will say, just in your time in the house, you notice that there is a particular lack of religious icons in the house for the time period, for the class of people that you're dealing with. There's nothing, especially with their proximity to that massive ass church that was out there. It's quite impressive Catholic church, but yeah, no religious icons in the house. You do find, like, if you mention it to them, they just kind of tell you that they're Protestants, and they just leave it at that.
Well, I mean, I guess he is a man of science.
Yeah,
I guess.
True. They're at least a man of science and not seance.
I am a man of seance.
That should be
Yeah.
a shirt.
It should.
It is now. No. Man, I wish somebody who could do that could just make that a shirt. Oh,
John will have it done before the end of the game.
yeah, I mean, he's already got the Prickle Tickle shirt. Although we need to add some art to that. Anyway. As you guys go outside and you kind of look around, it is cold. There is some snow on the ground because it has been snowing some.
And how are those rose bushes doing here in the dead of winter?
They are
Poorly.
pruned back. They are pruned back, and they look grim. They don't look great. thorny, ugly rose bushes.
No, it would be weird if it was like they're thriving.
Yeah.
It's the fresh blood that keeps them going.
So go ahead and give me. Well, you wanted to talk to the groundskeeper, eh?
Only if we encounter them. I think
Okay.
We kind of want to check out this hidey hole that the kid has been enjoying.
Okay. So you look around, and you know she really didn't get a chance to and she didn't have the words to be like, well, it's that bush, third from the right, with the pretty pepper flowers.
It's like
and tea."
this.
Can I use tracking to see if we can find little child footprints?
You can either use track or navigate. Well, you remember she said she hasn't been out in a while because it's cold, and Daddy says no.
Yeah, but children leave messes.
You
You
think?
can find where the children have been.
Okay. Give me either a track or a navigate. I will allow you to have.
I got a critical success on track
Wow.
Nice.
with these dice tonight, guys.
All right, just an exceptional on track, but
Okay. So, there's no footprints in the snow. But I will say, as you're looking around, and with that exceptional extreme success
And critical.
and a critical, guys, that you can that you do as you're looking around, you actually find it's out closer actually to kind of where the gate would have been. Remember, there was no actual gate, but it's a gateway. You actually
What's a gateway?
Huh?
I said, oh, it's a gateway.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to say that you go out to the gateway, and as you're looking around and you kind of are navigating around, because of your great successes, within about 5 minutes, you actually locate some cellar steps. The top step is under nearly 2 feet of earth and charred brick near the base of a large oak tree. But there is a bush nearby, and you think that perhaps you can see that there has been some digging in things. The snow is kind of cleared away a little bit.
She's just casually descending into hell during hide and seek.
I mean, you're gonna have to, if you want to fit down into there, you could see a little area that's been cleared out that's probably about the size of maybe a 3-year-old human who thought that they were being clever and just kind of ducked down. It doesn't go very far, but you do see some charred brick coming up through the earth, and I will say that you have a pretty good impression that maybe this is what you're looking for. But you will have to dig, so...
well,
Leo's left arm just flies off her body.
maybe we do need to go see that groundskeeper after all.
I mean...
And maybe borrow a shovel.
Or two.
Okay.
So there's no way. So I'm not exactly the biggest person in size wise, but is there any way we could?
Are you bigger than a 3-year-old little girl?
No, well, I don't know. I mean, my size
He's
is
flexible.
You don't know.
not. I don't know how
I
big
don't
she
know.
was. You
The
didn't describe her.
fact
She
that-
could.
Okay,
She could have been more
tall
of
is
a.
she in? Because I've seen some chonkers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen some chonks.
As the group's resident chunk, even I at 3 would not have been big enough for a grown-ass man to crawl in a hole.
Yeah, but I'm
After me.
also I'm
He's
also
like a
used
thief,
to
but-
wedging myself into small spaces, crawling
But
through.
is what I'm telling you is that
it's
it's not
impossible.
it's
Gotcha.
not a hole. It's
Gotcha.
like
Okay.
an area that she's
Yeah.
probably pawed at and kind of dug out a little space, and you see some
Gotcha.
charred brick. It's not like, oh, she crept into a hole. No, she was like hee, and she laid down and flattened herself with the ground.
Okay,
Did
so
that
she ha-
laugh
she hasn't
sound
been-
like the laugh of a sketch? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was a sketchy laugh, man.
So she's never been down into hell.
Hashtag sketchy laughs. She has not been into.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood. I thought there was like a gap that she was like slipping into. Gotcha. Okay.
No.
Into the Hellmouth.
Yeah.
Just so we don't forget, when we get to dinner, we may want to ask when. Like, did he mention when he cut his arm?
It was summer, is what he
It
said.
was last year.
Last year.
When they were pruning back. When they were pruning back the bushes.
We should I'm kind of curious when his wife's arthritis started flaring up on that side. Because, I mean, maybe it was around the time when she found this little hidey hole, but that she would have been like 2, and I don't know, like, she would have been ambulatory enough to dig in here. Anyway,
Sure.
thoughts.
Sure. No, that's good.
I mean, kids get into all kinds of shit.
Is there do there seem to be tools around the yard? Anywhere we could find a shovel?
Sure. Give me some spot hiddens.
No, I got nothing.
Regular success. I spot the garden shed. I don't know.
Yep. Nope. There's a garden shed. We're gonna say that's not on your wonderful blueprints. You spot a garden shed, and it's not locked. And you see some general lawn care equipment. You know, you see some pruning shears. You see, you do see a shovel. You see some spades, things like that. Flower pots, potting soil, shit like that.
Well, I guess we're digging now.
Toss a couple shovels out.
Okay. Go ahead.
This guy like looks out the window. We're all like,
Sounds my house. We're just doing some digging.
Just,
Making a snow fort for the kid. Don't mind
Right.
us.
exactly. So yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to dig earth in winter, especially a nice cold winter in a nice cold place, but it sucks. It is hard work. Whoever volunteers to do that, that's fine. It's going to take you quite a bit. It's probably going to take you almost to dinner time to excavate the length of what ends up being a staircase.
Can we excavate enough so that we can at least show him that we found something? I don't necessarily want to dig our way down into hell and not say something to him. And then have us come in for dinner covered in... Well, not me. I'm not going to be covered in dirt. I don't want them to be covered in dirt when we come in for dinner and be like, what the hell? Like...
Oh, that's fine.
and we're like, what the hell indeed?
Okay, hashtag what the hell indeed is definitely... That's another shirt or a sticker I'm going to have to figure out how to make. So, but yeah, so how far down would you like to go?
I think we need to expose just the
Just some stairs?
and a step, maybe 2. Not much more than that. Just enough to be like, hey, we found this. It looks like it descends into something. Maybe someone should dig down to make sure your daughter doesn't get into it. Like, to make sure there's nothing down there dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can actually hire the groundskeeper to do the digging.
Not a bad idea.
Wow, you guys are such assholes.
I'm an old woman. I am like
How old?
towards the end. I'm almost 50. And the average lifespan in the 1920s is 54 years old.
I'm almost 50. I'm towards the end. Wow, Matt feels really old. Thanks, Allah. Thanks.
No, in game. Where the average lifespan for this period of time is 54 years old.
54. Okay.
So
I
I'm
just
basically at the
assumed-
cusp.
I thought Emily was just living on spite and piss and vinegar.
She is,
girl.
yes.
There's that too.
There is that. So she's got another 50 years in her with that. Okay, no, that's fine. So you return back to the house to tell someone that you have found something, and you actually are greeted in the entryway by Veronique. She has come back down. I will say that as you when you see her, and she's like, "Oh, I am so sorry for having to leave so quickly earlier. My husband says that you are staying for dinner. I'm very excited to have the company. We don't get many visitors, for asking about the house or the grounds or anything. Usually people only come if they are hurt or in pain. So it's wonderful to have 4 lovely people, and it's such a mixed crowd of wonderful people that we could ask so many questions about life outside of our little area of France. But you can see that her left hand is grossly bent and twisted by the arthritis. Like you can see like ligaments, and it looks painful. And she just she keeps it close to herself, and she kind of covers it with her other hand. She tries not to make too much of a scene about it, but you are positive that it is super painful.
That's
Leo,
what happened
like-
when she said to tear out all the roses. It just crippled her hand.
Cleo starts to speak.
Okay.
Of course, probably. This woman probably doesn't understand her. But
Frere
she
Jacques?
starts to... Frere Jacques. She basically looks at her arm and says, if you would indulge someone that deals in areas other than science, but that can soothe, I might be able to help
has
you.
some alternative medicine that they are trying over there, and she would like to offer it to you to see if it will aid your symptoms.
Oh, and she looks at Cleo. She's like, oh, does she mean like holistic medicine?
Yes.
Okay.
It is something she has been working on. It's moderate successes. It really depends on the person.
Don't tell Chris, but I have been reading about homeopathy, and I find it quite fascinating.
She would be amenable to the idea.
She'll kind of lead her over to a spot where they can or something, and she'll take out some Florida water and some things, and she'll start slowly kind of drawing with the items and stuff, just like runes and healing things kind of just onto her arm specifically with these items that she knows help a little bit.
This is fascinating. Does anyone explain to her? Like, do you let anybody translate for you what you're doing, or do you just do it?
Sure. I mean, she
like,
does it, and she will tell her what she's doing if someone chooses to translate, then.
Emily will just sit there and translate.
It's like bullshit, though. It's like not.
Emily
She translates
phrases it somewhat vaguely as medical, but like, yes, this is from a particular mountain spring only found in the Americas. It's got some particular elements that are unique to the region.
Oh, fascinating.
She hams up the nonsense.
Yeah, and Veronique is eating it up. She's like, this is quite wonderful. I mean, they do say that if you eat, if you get your honey from a local apiary, or from if you have bees of your own, it helps with your allergies in the springtime. So we prefer to get our mead. We actually take honey from a local apiary, and we send it to the meadery, and they.
Yeah, now she's just talking about bees, so just do your thing.
This is all fascinating. It feels very nice. Tell her it feels very nice.
Is it helping your symptoms at all?
No, but it feels very nice on the skin.
It's not working at all.
But thank you. It smells lovely. Does it smell bad? Does it?
No, it's Florida water. Actually, traditionally has sort of a perfume. It's light,
Okay.
But it does have a.
I didn't
a
know
scent.
the herbs and stuff. Like if you were just mixing some kind of gruel to just paste on there, some pulse.
No, it's
Okay.
it's stuff that drives away negativity and bad entities and
so it's
evil
like some white sage in there.
yeah, some like Palo
like that.
Santo.
Okay, yeah. She's like, it smells quite nice. Très bien.
But if that doesn't work, for my own aches and pains, I take this extract of white willow bark, which is basically aspirin, and maybe that will help more. Although I suspect your husband has the very same.
It's being married to a doctor does have its perks, but I've had arthritis for a bit now, and it's just getting older, I suppose.
Out of curiosity, when did the pain in your left arm start?
Oh, I mean, time? What is time?
Well,
Probably
mine got progressively worse after childbirth, so I was just curious if you had the same experience.
It didn't start immediately after I had Katri, but it was definitely probably about, I don't know, 18 months ago or so. Yeah, this winter has been just brutal. Brutal on it. It just locks up sometimes. It's terrible. But yeah, she's very pleasant, and she's like, do you like opera? Anyone?
I love opera.
Oh, just last night, Christian and I went and saw the famous soprano Caterina Cavallaro sing at the Paris Opera House. It was exquisite.
It's a shame we missed that.
I have seen her on previous occasions, and it has been fantastic each time.
Please, do tell.
I probably have seen her on multiple occasions.
I know. She's just like.
But Matt has no knowledge of opera whatsoever.
I don't either. Yeah,
she's probably been to the London Opera House, where you have attended with your socialite friends,
or also probably in Salzburg or
also true.
Vienna. Yeah.
Would your father have been interested in that sort of thing?
He would have, for the appropriate being seen and seeing in society.
Had that very special box that,
Yeah, you have to have your own box.
Yeah.
You don't want to be with the peasants.
No.
I'm already tramping through the French countryside with them. What's the difference?
You don't freaking share your box with just anybody, ladies and gentlemen. Just saying.
Wrong show.
This fucking show.
Wasn't even going there, but
No,
I was just
but
being snooty rich people.
I took it there. Yep, I did. So anyway, she is like wants to talk about Caterina Cavallaro, and she speaks of the arias and some opera. I know nothing about opera either. I've thought about going, and then I was like, no. But we, she when you say that you've seen her multiple times, she is like with the fervor of a fangirl. She just wants to. She's like just almost kneeling before you, Johanna, to hear about these operatic pieces. Wanting the drippings from the altar that you have gone and seen this woman multiple times.
I can walk her through, like, as a child when I went, like, pre-war to Vienna and, like, spent time, like, seeing multiple operatic performers, like, all of these times that I've been, and that time that I went and saw that one musician, like, just keep her. Tell her all these stories. Yeah.
She's like, I mean, she almost looks lightheaded with all this information about this life, this whirlwind life that you must have led at your young age, and she's like, I'm so sorry, you came in to speak with us. And I completely have just completely consumed your time speaking about my interests. What is it that you did you see all that you wished?
We actually, I think we found something of concern. Are you up to?
Oh, no.
I mean, is she already outside with us, or is this when we went
you
back?
met her inside the house.
Are you up to
She took
come
you into the kitchen.
outside to look at something briefly?
Of course. Let me grab my coat. If Christian sees me outside without my coat, he is a stickler for layers, that man. And she grabs a nice hooded cloak, and she kind of and a muffler.
I'll
Muffled.
take her and I assume the other three of us like kind of go out and point out the area and say that. So while we were looking, we found these scorched bricks and what looks like stairs down into an old cellar. I'm curious what's down there, but I'm also concerned if we were able to easily remove this much of the dirt that's covering it, what that could mean for your darling daughter were she to decide to explore. It may be something that you would want to excavate, or perhaps Mr. Haskins can assist your gardener to see if it's men's work.
You're so strapping, Mr. Haskins.
To see if we could get down into the basement or into the cellar. I would be interested to at least look around briefly if it were safe, and then maybe fasten something over top of it to keep your daughter out, so that there was no danger.
I mean, of course, that's I had no idea that.
I mean, my cousin's house did burn here. It's however many years ago that was. My distant cousin. So I'm not surprised to find that there's some remnant of that building. But it is something to be aware of and concerned about, I think.
Of course. No, absolutely. This could take some time. I'm glad that you're staying for dinner. Would you? I hope this doesn't seem too forward, but would you? This may take the rest of the day. Would you like to stay? We have plenty of room.
I'll look over at Cleo and in English say, if we stay the night at the house, is it going to cause a problem with us? Like, should we expect pain? Are you still in pain?
Are you still open?
I mean, the truth is she's always kind of open.
A little bit.
She's not actively reaching out to anything, but she has she has that sort of intuitive thing that is always kind of at least go at 10 or 15%.
Absolutely. So, yeah, the pain definitely lessened when you weren't actively pushing out. When you were actively reaching out, that is when you kind of got this general about your arm and the pain. And the more that you kind of like prided forward and pushed forward and focused on it, that is what made it worse. But you are not like, it's not debilitating in any way. You have not responded to the pain like the child did, for one, or even like Veronica.
Well, children are always more open.
Yeah. So Veronique or Mrs. Lorien, she's fine with getting the groundskeeper to begin digging. She, if Mr. Haskins would like to help, he is more than welcome. But the groundskeeper, spends. The only thing that you helping might do is speed it up a little bit.
I'm also going to make sure that he doesn't try to go down there either, because that could just get possibly ugly, given our past experience.
Does Cleo give hint that we would be safe here overnight?
She gives hint that she doesn't know. She says, well, I can't. If I don't actively open myself, it doesn't, there's kind of a residual thing, but I'm not in an incredible amount of pain. I don't know what would happen to us at night, but I don't sense an overwhelming negative, evil entity here.
Okay. I will turn back to Veronique. And I think that as long as it's not putting you out, we can get rooms in town. That wouldn't be an issue. And there are 5 of us, if you remember our poor driver who's probably still sitting in the car and we never brought him in. Hey, the driver could probably help dig.
Yes, he can. We will compensate him for his efforts.
Jesus Christ, you guys are terrible.
We pay them for their work, come on. You can sit comfortably in the car and just...
Yeah, that's how you get those big beefy arms.
Yeah, I've seen enough action movies to know that drivers are hella buff.
Yeah, look at Vin Diesel. In all of the Fast movies, he is just buff.
Yeah.
All of those drivers are really buff.
Yeah, it's like when you see guys like guys like Vin Diesel and Joe Manganiello, and they say, "Oh, we love to play D&D," and you're like, obviously D&D players are hot and buff. No, they're not Actually, Vin Diesel is not that attractive to me.
We work out.
But that's how I roll, man. But yeah, no. That's fine. However, it needs to work out. It is dug. They stop. It does still take a while because the earth is hard. It's cold, and they run into brick, and it's definitely a staircase. So they start to figure out the incline and the descent, and it goes down a little ways. It doesn't go down super far. Honestly, if you'd have just spent a little bit more time with it, you might have uncovered it yourself. But it does get to a point where it hits a massive like steel door.
That's not ominous.
Well, I mean, it goes down 18 steps, and then there's an old steel door at the bottom. It does not budge. So, but about this time, by the time that the men get down, I assume the ladies are just watching the entire thing, and Mr. Haskins are just watching
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, inside. Yeah, no, I'm not staying
inside.
out in the cold watching them dig. No.
Okay,
See,
good.
looking at the
Cleo's
door.
out there.
I'm-
Cleo's out there.
I'm down
Okay.
down there looking at the door.
Okay,
Because she's concerned what could be down there, and she's not going to leave
okay.
these people that have no supernatural protection to, like,
Of
uncover
course.
this mystery door.
They're like, well, I'm gonna need something else besides what we got here. Silvers ain't gonna open this. And he, groundskeeper, he's like, I've got some chains and some crowbars, though. I can go start messing with this. It is getting late afternoon by this point, and about this time inside, Christian has seen his last patient and has and they left, and he went to the kitchen. He's like, well, I'm going to start preparing dinner. I will let you know when it is ready. And at some point, about the time that the groundskeeper, if you girls are watching from the house, you see the groundskeeper kind of march up out of the hole and head towards the garden shed. And about that time, Veronique appears, and she's like, Christian says dinner is ready. Would you like to fetch your friends, or shall I?
I look over at Emily.
Oh, I sort of assumed Emily would help with dinner or just like putzing around the house stuff, but
Oh, then
Well, I thought you were watching from the house.
why would I watch them work?
it's
Till
enjoyable.
that shit.
You lonely? I don't know.
Oh, shut up. Rude.
I'll go out and get Haskins and Dandridge.
Okay.
The Americans.
Would you
Yeah,
like
at least
to
we're doing
join the
something
arcades?
useful.
Johanna's like, sipping tea by the fire is always useful.
So you come out and tell us that dinner's ready?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'm going to be like, look, they're going to try and crack this door open. I think we need to be here when they do.
Can it wait
Wait,
until after dinner?
the driver's like, somebody said dinner?
Dinner?
Yeah, I think that taking a rest and letting everyone re-energize and warm up for a little while might be a good idea.
I don't know. I've been down here working. I'm fairly warm.
The snark in this hole is off the charts.
It's astounding.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Just let's tell the groundkeeper not to crack into this door because, I mean, we don't know what's back there.
once dinner is called, the ground, I'm sure, the groundskeeper can be told to hold off.
Ooh, he eats with the family? Special.
No, I didn't say that he was eating with the family, but he could be told to hold off.
No. The hell doesn't eat with the family.
I mean, yeah. In fact, Johanna would be like looking at the driver as soon as he was like popped his head out of the hole and was like, "Dinner?" And Johanna's like, "No."
Back to the car.
You can have your dinner in the car.
Well, maybe he could just go back to the hotel. Is the polite
That's
thing to
true.
do?
Yeah.
And he can come back in, tomorrow noonish or something.
Are you guys staying at the house then?
Well, that is an ominous question. I don't like that question at all.
Why not? It's just a question. God damn.
The host wants to know if they're going to get a bunch of beds ready or not.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So yeah. You tell the driver. Okay, Bo. It's cool. Go on home. We'll get you. Just come back and pick us up tomorrow, same time that you dropped us off. All right.
Did you just say the driver's name was Bo?
That's what I called him.
Then where's Luke?
Where's his?
Short for Beauregard.
I didn't even think about it being. Yeah. That. I forgot the name of the show for a second.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, so. Yeah, you guys go in and have dinner. Christian has prepared a feast, relatively, for you, and he's quite proud of his cooking. And honestly, as you sit down and eat, the food is delicious. That wound on his left arm that he's been nursing for a year, he's still got skills. He knows how to cook. You guys all have a really good time. Katri is not a part of this. She went to bed early. So it is just you and the Mr. and Mrs.
To say, Doc, if you weren't a doctor, you missed your calling, because this is by far one of the finest dinners I've had in a long time.
Oh, well, thank you. It helps me relax after a long day. It truly does. And we've, living out here and being so close to Paris, it is. We have access to such good food and ingredients, and we enjoy a nice evening out at a fine restaurant now and again, and picked up a few pretty good at sussing out ingredients and things like that.
Well, it is surely equal to, if not better than, some of the fine dining we have had in Paris.
Oh, well, that is high praise indeed. I thank you so much. And Veronique is like, darling, the Countess has seen Caterina Cavallaro perform multiple times. And Christian, you get the impression from Christian that while he indulges his wife's love for opera, it is not something that he can sit and speak at length about. But he is very polite, and you get the distinct impression that he absolutely adores his wife, and would suffer through hours of opera if it made her happy, and it certainly does. But as you're talking throughout the course of dinner, everything, it's a wonderful evening. It's pleasant. Veronique says, I've made sure that the extra beds are made up, and everything is should be comfortable for you. I'm sorry, it is probably not the accommodations that a countess would be normally accustomed to, but it is the best that we can do, and I hope that you enjoy your stay. And when Christian says, he's like, Veronique tells me that you found something out in the yard and you're digging it up.
Yes, there were some stairs down. We were concerned about safety for your darling child, and thought it best to see what was down there. It looks like an old cellar, and the stairs seem to have ended in a steel door that your gardener thought that he could get open, but not with the tools they had, and that was about the time that dinner was ready. So we thought that perhaps tomorrow would be a good time to investigate that further.
When I was down there looking at it, is it immobile because it's rusted and corroded, or is it just like a solid piece of metal that's just kind of...
No, I think it's just... no, it's not like... I mean...
Like something that was sealed off. No.
Okay. It is an old door from another century that has been underground, and the house above it was burned, and all of that. It's just detritus of a lot of time. And,
gotcha. Okay.
And
I want to make sure.
It's just, we can't get this open with shovels. There's no... You can sit and futz with the door all you want, and it's just stuck. But Christian finds this fascinating. I mean, he's like, oh, this is interesting. So do you have the do you really understand what you're looking for? Or do you have, like, I don't know, like sketches of the old home or anything? I'd be fascinated to see anything like that.
Is that an honest question, or is there something behind that? Like, I'm not...
Give me a psychology roll.
Like, whew, I have no idea.
I mean, it seems absolutely honest. Like, he's just, this is the most anybody's ever, besides the weird letter, he's like that talked about some statue or something. You're actually asking about the like grounds, and you said you found something, and he's just like, this is amazing.
We have blueprints from the original house that I would be happy to show you tonight over perhaps some cognac.
Well, absolutely. We have
Maybe our pipes and some cognac.
I brought
That-
the Countess's juice box of cognac in case we need it.
nice.
I was going to say, otherwise, wow, just inviting yourself to the doctor's cognac. I mean,
Yeah, no,
It's the
Emily's
polite
like,
thing
we
to
brought
do.
our own.
Yeah.
Assume
Um,
Emily brought the booze.
Yeah,
It's fair.
it's part of what she brings to every investigation. It's part of the charm.
Sandwiches, alcohol.
That's right. You know, eat extra bread. It'll help. But yeah, no, they're fascinated. So as dinner winds up, again, wonderful dinner. You all retire into the study, and you break out the booze and the plans and the pipes, and it's honestly. So do you just roll them out, or do you tease them?
I assume that we looked at these beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Cleo studied them the other night.
there's no surprise when we unroll this, and he's like, "Oh, look, here's the cellar right here." But no, I would unroll them and kind of go over them, see how much he understands about the blueprints and what he's looking at.
Okay. As soon as you show them to them, they are like, "This is fucking A, man," and they're like all over it, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And they find some sketches of the land that they had, and from when their house was built. They actually have plans of their house, and they set it down, and they're like trying to figure out. They're like looking at it. Thankfully, the sizes are kind of similar, and they're like, so if this is where this is, then this must be. They're looking at the Compt's villa, and they're like, it looks like you did find some cellar stairs. We have to look in there. That sounds fascinating. And Veronique looks at Christian, and she's like, what if this has to do with that letter that we received? Did you tell them about the letter? And he's like, oh, I showed them the letter. It's fine. And they didn't know anything about it either. And it's like, oh, this is, and they're excited. This is so foreign to their normal day to day that this is super exciting for them. And they are, we must do this first thing in the morning. I will prepare breakfast. I will counsel all my patients for the day. We have to go find these cellars. And they're just, and I mean, you can give me psych rolls, but I'll tell you, they're just, you get the impression that they're just thrilled that this exciting thing is happening on their land, and they get to be a part of it, and that it's helping you connect with your heritage and your ancestry, and Christian might make a little wink wink nudge nudge. You're not gonna try to buy my house out from under me, right? But no, of course not. That shouldn't have said anything. That's rude. Not every count is like that. Yeah.
I'm quite interested to see if what's down there too. If there's things down there and it's safe, they would have been sealed up for 140, 150 years, and we would get to see them for the first time. It's almost like a little archaeology dick.
How exciting!
Yes, quite exciting.
just imagine if it's a wine cellar down there, you might have some truly vintage bottles down there.
Mr. Haskins has a point.
I mean, I don't, not one for religion too much, but I know enough Bible to know that it says, take a little wine for thy stomach's sake. We just...
Although, by all accounts, the distant cousin was quite the libertine. Perhaps the contents may be a bit disturbing.
Oh. And Christian seems a little taken aback by that. Veronique is like, please, what?
Tell me more.
What do you mean? I don't know. About this time, there is an absolute earth-shattering scream from upstairs.
See, we're gonna get a lot of sleep tonight.
And
Cleo's
And
like on
Veronique-
her feet, like running
Veronique
upstairs.
immediately looks towards. She goes, "Catherine," and that is where we're going to end tonight. And we will.
Perfect. Yes.
Cliffhangers.
Yeah, I don't do them very often, but you guys took enough time. I was able to do it. But yeah, so that was our show tonight. So yeah, the child screams, and mom is like, "Oh my god, not my child!" And you guys all go.
Honestly, it's a perfectly toddler thing to do. It's just scream in the middle of the night
It
for no
is.
reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is. But I thank you guys for joining us tonight. I thank my wonderful players for joining me,
Oh, definitely.
playing games with me as always. Please do come back. Tuesday night, we have By Leaps and Bounties, our 7th C2nd edition playthrough that starts at 7 p.m. Pacific. It features myself, John, and Ala, and Michael, and Danny, bunches of wonderful people. On Wednesday night, we have Shadowrun, which also has John and a lot of other wonderful people. And then on Thursday nights, we have Ninjas, Growing Shadows, which has John and myself. And John is on all the shows, guys. If you haven't guessed, he's on everything, one way or another. But yeah, join us. All shows this week are at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And we love you guys. Tune in next time, and we'll be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern for find out what scared little Catri.
And maybe we'll get on a train finally.
Maybe.
Wow.
Next
What
week
the hell,
is-
indeed.
Next week is planned to be our season finale, so we will see where we get next week and see how what you guys are doing for the hiatus, where you are stuck waiting. So we'll see. But we do love you. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe, be kind, and we will see you in 1 week.
Bye.